Yo, whoa, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. You're going to want to stick around to the end because I have a huge surprise. I'm sorry there is a slight echo. I just moved, so I don't have everything hung up on my wall, so my voice is just picking up from the walls here. But wow, you guys really loved my last PC build video. I mean, I didn't even think it would get as much love as it did. I just want to thank everybody who showed love and support to that last video. It really boosts my confidence, and like I promised, I have more bangers for you guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's your chance to do it. We're going to continue to drop bangers, continue to do PC builds, continue to do gameplay, so you don't want to miss out on that. If you haven't watched my previous PC build, a link is going to be in the description below, as well as a card that's going to be popping up right now, either right here or right here. I don't know which side is going to pop up. It's either going to be right here or right here, so one of these sides. But today, as promised, we have a banger. We have a PC build, but today we are on a budget. $600 is the budget that we have to spend, and on top of that, I challenged myself to try to build an all-white computer. When I tell you this PC came out to be amazing, I am not lying, but no spoilers yet. Before we get started, I feel like I have to say this again. I am not a master computer builder. I am not the greatest of all time when it comes to this. I just do this because this is something that I love, and as you can see in this video, I'm actually getting better and better at it. All of your comments are really helpful to me, and I take each and every one of them into consideration. So trust me, if you comment on the video, I'm probably going to like it and respond, just as long as it's a nice comment. I only have to say that because I don't need people in the comments talking about me and why I did this or why I did that. I put a lot of research into this build, so if you have to ask yourself why I went with something, it's most likely because of the budget that I'm on. YouTube not paying the bills yet, so our budget is kind of tight. So starting off with the specs and components, I always use PC Part Picker, and I have a link to my exact build in the description below. All of these items are at market value, meaning that the price is subject to change by the time this video is out or by the time you might buy them. Starting off with the CPU, I went with AMD Ryzen 3 4100 3.8 gigahertz quad core processor. Right now it is going for $69. Nice. But I bought it for $67.50. Yes, Ryzen 3 is an older CPU, but it still gets the job done for what the price is for. It is nothing too crazy, but it will still process games and videos at least 1080p perfectly. Next, moving on to the CPU cooler, I went with the Thermalright Assassin's King SC ARGB cooler. Right now it is going for $50.90, but I bought it for $21.49, which is a crazy increase in price. At the time that I bought this, I did not know that my CPU came with a cooler, but it still ended up working out because the cooler that came with the CPU was all black, and because of this challenge I would have still needed to get this all white cooler instead. Moving along to the motherboard, I went with the Gigabyte B450M DS3H Wi-Fi Micro ATX AM4 motherboard, going for $84.99, but I bought mine for $79.99. I'm kind of disappointed in the color of the white that was on this motherboard. From the pictures, it looked like it was a lot more white than it actually is. It's more of a grayish color than white, but this is totally my fault for not doing better research. For the RAM cards, I went with the Crosshair Vengeance RGB Pro 16GB DDR4 memory cards. It is two 8GB cards, and they're going for $59.99. I bought them for $51.99, and these are my second favorite things about this PC. These RAM cards are very cheap for what you get, and the RGB lights really just pop out. I was not expecting these to come out like they did. Not sponsored, but I highly recommend these RAM sticks. Now, when it comes to storage, I always like going with at least 2 TB, but in this case, I had to save money. So I ended up going with the Samsung 980 Pro 1TB SSD, going for $99.99, but I bought mine for $85.34. Nothing really too special here, but 1 TB is more than enough for a budget build of this caliber. I know some people have problems with this SSD card, but hey, they haven't given me an issue yet, so I'm going to keep using them. The case that I went with is the Monotech X3 Mesh ATX mid tower case, going for $59.99, but I bought mine for $49.99. This is by far my favorite part of this build because this case comes with 6 RGB fans. Yes, you heard that right, 6. And on top of the fact that this case was only $50 for me, you cannot beat that price for the product anywhere. Moving to the battery, I went with the EVGA 500 watts ATX power supply, going for $57.49, which is exactly how much I bought mine for. Nothing really too special here. I've seen some reviews saying that it is a solid power supply, and it gives exactly the wattage that I'm needing for this build. Here's the moment that everyone's been waiting on, the video card. The GPU that I ended up going with is the Paladin Radeon Radeon RX 5500 XT 8GB video card going for $179.99, which is exactly how much I bought mine for as well. This thing is a beast for the price that it is. It meets the criteria that I was looking for price wise, as well as the color. If you want to know why this video took so long to come out, it is because of this darn thing. It literally took a whole month to ship to me because I didn't know it was being shipped from China. Last but not least, I ended up getting Windows 10, and look, you guys chewed me out for paying over $100 for Windows, but I didn't know you can get it cheaper. So this time I ended up getting Windows 10 for $18.23 from G2A. And I just want to say thank you for your comments because you guys saved me a lot of money. So please keep the suggestions and keep the comments coming because they are really helpful. So in total, I ended up paying $612.51. So we kind of went over budget by $12.51, but I think this is still valid since getting exactly $600 is near impossible with trying to match aesthetics. So going over only $12.51 is really nothing. So I would say not too bad on my end. Wait, do y'all hear something? Is that a partnership? Before we get into the video, I have partnered up with Doobie Energy. Doobie is a clean energy drink that is focused on not giving you no crashes or jitters, unlike other energy drinks, but we not gonna talk about them. So this energy drink is made in the USA. It has 0 sugar, artificial color or dyes, and is gluten-free. It contains vitamins, amino acid, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Honestly, the best thing about this is that the drinks come out to be about $1 or less per drink, which is a lot less than Starbucks, a lot less than these other energy drinks, and most importantly, it's more healthier. If you are somebody who suffers from having the jitters after drinking energy drinks, I recommend Doobie. Use code Chief Mallow for 10% off at checkout. Everything is in the description below. And without further ado, let's get to the video. Moving on to the build. The build itself was pretty easy this time around. I'm starting off with the motherboard, and when I got this, it was already open, which kind of made me wonder if something was missing, but I think we're all good. Opening this box, you see that it comes with extra connectors, which is always nice to see. If we need it, we always have it. But putting that to the side and moving on to the board itself, this is when I noticed that the white on the board is more like a gray, which, like I said before, is 100% my fault for not doing more research on this. Nothing too crazy. You see that we just have our standard ports and our double Wi-Fi ports. Next, we have the Wi-Fi antennas and the manual, which the manual was basically nothing. If this was my first build, I would have to search the internet for what everything on this motherboard means because the manual alone just taught me nothing. And lastly, the brackets for our ports. Moving on to the CPU, I was not expecting this to come with anything else but the CPU itself. And when I pulled out this black box, I was like, ooh, what is this? The CPU is just the same, and the manual was the last thing that came in a box, but who needs that? Finally, I'm opening the black box that came with it, and this is when I realized, oh, this is a CPU cooler. It comes with thermal paste and everything. The only problem is that it's all black and it would not fulfill my challenge, but I guess I have a cooler for my next build already. Diving into the actual build, I know what I'm doing now, so installing this was easy. Always remember to line up the triangles that are on the CPU and the CPU compartment on the motherboard. Pull the stick out and up and place the CPU triangles matching in the compartment. Once you're done with that, you can push the stick back into place. It should have some tension on it. That's how you know that it'll be installed correctly. Now that the CPU is installed, we can move on to our hard drive. Opening up this box, we have our SSD and the manual, which we don't need. First, we need to remove the screw that is used to hold the SSD into place, and then all we do is slide our SSD card into the slot. Once we're done with that, we can put the screw back on to hold our SSD down. Now moving on to the RAM sticks, we have two 8GB DDR4 RAM drives that are going to be dual channel. These sticks look amazing, and we haven't even put them on yet. Once we get them out the packaging, we pop the locks out and push the cards down until they lock back into place. This part always scares me because I always feel like I'm putting too much force down and I'm going to break the motherboard. Now, I know a lot of people recommend putting the CPU cooler on first, but I'm actually going to put the motherboard in the case. This is so that I can screw the screws in for the motherboard easily. Hey, I have big hands, so I have to help myself out somehow. This case is amazing. I highly recommend getting this case if you're building your own PC. The top easily comes off. All you have to do is open it and pull it off the brackets for easy access into the case. Now I can place the motherboard into the case and put the port bracket on as well. As you can see here, it basically goes on like this. Now I will say this is where I messed up because I didn't realize that the case came with its own screws for the motherboard, so I ended up using old screws that I had from my previous build. The screws that came with the case are at the bottom of the case, just in case you're wondering. How many times did I say case there? As always, make sure when you put the screws on, not to make them tight until you put them all on, and then once you put them all on, you can make them all tight. Moving on to the cooler. For the looks of it, this is a foreign cooler, but trust me, it still gets the job done. It comes with a radiator, thermal paste, a fan, mounting braces, and brackets. It is really easy to install once you know what you're doing. Basically, because we're doing an AMD build, we need to take the mounting brackets that came with the motherboard off and put the braces on that came with the cooler. We keep the back plate on and put the red screw holder in between the radiator and the CPU. Once we have the red braces in place, we can now put the correct mounting braces onto the motherboard. I had to hold the back plate while I screwed the screws in so that it will not fall. But basically we do that for both sides. Take some thermal paste and put it onto the CPU. Don't need that much, just a little dab. Then place the radiator on top of the mounting bracket. Take your screwdriver and tighten the screws that are on the side of the radiator. Then we take out the fan and place it down on the side that has the ram sticks. Take the fan brackets, attach them to the fans, pretty much put the ends of the brackets into the holes of the fan and push the middle part of the bracket onto the side of the radiator. Here's a picture of what I just explained. Now we can install the graphics card. The packaging is really nice and it comes with a GPU and the mounting screws. Let's just take the time to look at this beauty. Make sure you take off the chip protector and let's install this card. First, we measure to see which port we need exposed from the case and take the case protectors off. Once we have that done, we make sure that the lock is open and place the graphics card in the slot. I will say with how big this card is and how small the motherboard is, I don't think we will ever be able to connect two GPUs to this board. Now I will say that this GPU did come with mounting screws, but what I recommend is that you use the same screws that came with the case to mount the GPU. The reason being is we know they fit and most of the time we don't have a problem with the card. This is pretty much how we're looking right now. Everything is fitting and looking good. Let's flip to the back to install the battery. This is also when I noticed that the motherboard screws were right here the whole time. Opening up the battery case, I like that the manual helped out with where the pins needed to be connected. But this battery comes with unremovable cords, so most of the time there are going to be some unused cords left hanging. We're going to put the battery in this slot right here with the fan facing down. Then we're going to take the screws that came with the battery and screw them into the 4 open holes that we see here. Once we have them installed, the battery will not move on us anymore. Now we go to the part that everyone hates, cable management. First, we find a 24 port connector and feed it through the case. I'm going to go through the top here because it is the closest to the port on the motherboard. Next, we do the same for the CPU and GPU power cords, which the placement will make a lot more sense once I turn the computer around. This case came with all of the fans and button case cords already managed and has zip locks on them. All I had to do was feed it through the case. Now turning the computer around, you can see why I fed the cords through the holes that I did. Simply put, they were the closest to the ports on the motherboard. Now at this point, I'm just playing with Legos. Putting the cords where they belong, the 24 pin connector goes here. This is the CPU LED pin that gets connected at the top right here. Next is the CPU pin that gets connected right here, which side note, if you ever get confused, just remember that the motherboard labels a lot of this for you. Next is the CPU power cord, which gets connected right here. I found it easier to put the computer down and plug the cord in that way. I suffer from BHD, which is big hands disease, and there's no cure for that, so I have to finagle my way through. I know that was a lame joke. I know. Going to the GPU power, the battery came with 2 8-pin connectors just in case you needed it, but this GPU only needs 1. So we just plug it into the port like so and move the other one under the graphics card so it's not in the way. Once that is done, we can start connecting the case fans, buttons, USB, and LED lights. I had to lay the computer down again because of my BHD, but connecting the HD audio and USB is simple. The motherboard labels it exactly and all we have to do is plug it in. Sorry that my hands are in the way, but you will see once I move them where they go. The blue cord is the USB 3.0 port that plugs in right here. I make sure that everything is plugged in all the way. You don't have to put a lot of force down, but some pressure is needed. Finally, the last pins that we need to plug in are the F panel pins, which if you don't know by heart like me, you can just look it up on where each cord needs to be plugged into like I show you here. Make sure that you're plugging in the positive and negative sides correctly. I'm just following the guide, and as long as you do that, then everything should be okay. I also just want to point out that up until this point, I really didn't need any guide for the connections. I'm kind of proud of myself because I'm learning and getting better and better. If you made it to this point, I really appreciate everyone for following along this journey with me. Now just plugging in the last 2 cords, the power and reset buttons, and once we're done with that, our build is complete. Here's what the front side is looking like right now. I have to pull the cords tighter on the back side, but here's what the back side is looking like. These extra cords are just going to go into this pocket that is for the hard drive, and I'm just going to pull the cords tighter here. All right, here's what the computer looks like right now. All we have to do is plug the computer in and see if it turns on, but I think it'll be a lot more interesting if you see my live reaction. Moment of truth here. Moment of truth. Does it blow up in my face? What happens? Oh, it turned on. Oh, it's on, it's on. It's on. I just can't hear it. Wow, that is silent. That is more silent than my other PCs. So I was wondering why the case fans weren't on, and then I realized that I didn't plug in the power to them. So I had to turn it back on the back side, and as you can see here where it says fan power, just take one of the battery plugs and plug the correct one into the fan case. It's the 4-prong one, and then you can shove the cords back inside of the hard drive case here. Pull the cords tight just to make sure everything looks good in the front side, and we're good. I got it hooked up to a monitor and also screwed in the Wi-Fi antennas in the back. Once I powered it up, the boot system came on. I plugged in my USB for Windows 10 so that I can get that installed. I put my Windows key in and let it do what it needed to do. Now that I have the computer booted up, let me plug in my capture card so we can play some games. I downloaded Minecraft and Apex Legends to test out some FPS, and boy, this thing is amazing. With the Minecraft, we're sitting at well over 200 FPS, averaged at about 250 FPS, and peaked at 350 frames per second. I also want to point out that I did no BIOS updates or changes when running these games, which if you think about it, 350 FPS is just insane. Now moving on to Apex, which is a lot more demanding of a game, but it still performed at great speeds. Quick note, the gameplay might look choppy, but that's because this video is rendered at 30 FPS, but my capture card and streaming setup is set up for 60 frames per second. Nevertheless, while playing the game, it was smooth and not one hiccup. We were around 120 to 150 FPS average, and once again, no changes were made to the BIOS of this build prior to playing this game. So I fully expect this game to be able to run at about 200 plus FPS once everything is set up properly. This build turned out to be a beast of a budget build, and it outperforms the PS5 and Xbox by a lot. Now, I am selling this PC to the first person who wants to buy it. If you were to buy the parts for this exact PC right now, it is going for $680.57 plus shipping and handling, and you will have to build it yourself. But I will sell it to you for $650 plus shipping and handling wherever it is you want it to ship to. I prefer PayPal, but I can take Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, or whatever. If you're interested, please reach out to my Instagram or Twitter, both in the description below. You must follow me first so that I can see your message and it doesn't go to my request box. I will put in the description if the PC is still available, and once someone buys it, I will update the description. Serious inquiries only. Please don't go on my DMs playing around because I will block you. Well, I won't block you, I just won't respond, but I have to look you dead in the eyes for this. I'm telling you right now, if you go on my DMs playing, I will leave you on red. You're going to be wasting your time and my time. Please, serious inquiries only. I really loved how this PC came out, and I really hope you guys think so as well. Oh, relax. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another video. As you can probably tell, and I said at the beginning of the video, I did end up moving. A lot of people wanted to see my setup, and I was kind of reluctant to show you guys because I knew I wasn't going to be there for that long, but now I am here now. There goes the PC we just built, and let me go get my tripod. So basically, this is my setup. As soon as you get in, we have everything here. I got some boxes right there. Don't worry about that. But the green screen, we got an extra seat right here. And then, you know, we come to the setup, a little trash can. Gotta stay sanitized, gotta stay fragrance-rise, if that's a word. But we got the mini fridge, shout out to the wife, she bought that. And then this is how we do our editing on the big monitor here. As you can see, that is actually the PC build we're doing right now. And then we have the money maker, Streamlabs. We do pretty much a lot of everything on Streamlabs. We got the Nike sock on the mic. That is a staple of my stream, staple of my content. It is a staple that's always going to be here. No matter how big I get, the Nike sock is not leaving the mic. And then we have the actual streaming computer setup. So this is the one that, not streaming, I'm sorry, the gaming computer setup. So this is where I play my games on. I like a smaller screen. This one has a higher refresh rate than both of these monitors, believe it or not. So yeah, we play here. This is the in-game mic that we have. We do a dual PC setup. Don't worry about the wires right now. I haven't done too much organizing with the wires and stuff, but we do a dual PC setup. I know last time I told you guys that I had a all black streaming computer, which is right here. It's literally all black. So before, I was doing everything on this computer, streaming, editing, gaming, everything was being handled by that computer. But then that's why I wanted to build my first computer, which is my gaming computer. And like I said, I wanted to do like something that was white, so it could be that I could contrast with there, but also added in that touch of black there. So we ended up doing that. We got the P5 here. We got the Switch right there. We got the PS3 right here. I have other game systems, but they're just not hooked up. So, and then we have our gaming collection, which this thing is about to be thrown away once I get a book stand. Once I get a book stand, all that is going up there, and then also my Funkos are going in there. And then just along the wall, we're not done yet, but we have some noise canceling stuff. Not too much, not too bad. We got our light behind our camera, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Our dual PC setup is done by a Elgato. It's right there. And yeah, that is pretty much the setup. So now I'm back here. I don't really have everything set up right now. Like I said, I just got here. I haven't even been here a week. So still getting a lot of things set up, still getting a lot of things organized, but we have not stopped dropping videos on YouTube. So we're still consistently doing that. But yeah, if you made it to the end of this video, I have to tell you guys, the last video we had 583 likes. So if this video gets 1 out of the 3 things, all it has to do is get 1. It doesn't have to, all 3 things don't need to happen, but if all 3 things do happen, hey, I really appreciate you guys. If I can get to 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 likes, or 100,000 views, I will do a free PC giveaway. Actually, you know what? If all 3 of those things happen, the person who wins the PC that I give, I will fly out to their state and I will personally hand them the PC that I built. So if this video gets to either one of those 3, I will go out and do that personally. It's gonna be a YouTube video on that, so you know I'm not gonna lie. So that's the goal: 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 likes, or 100,000 views. But yeah, that's about it. I really don't have much to say. I appreciate you guys watching. We have more bangers coming out, so please like, subscribe, comment. I reply to all comments, trust me. We are dropping bangers all 2024. You don't want to miss out. That's all I'm gonna say. So I appreciate you guys, and until next time, I will see you guys. Peace. Woo! I can't believe I just did that.